Hi, my name's Amy Sherminska, and I'm an instructional resource teacher for the SCDSB. And I've just got a summary to show you of the different reports available to you in PowerTeacher and PowerTeacher Gradebook. So there are two ways to access reports. So one is inside PowerTeacher Gradebook, where we've been doing our report cards, and where some of you have been recording student assessment data, and that would be in the Reports tab. And the other place is on your PowerTeacher start page on the web. There's a link on the left-hand side that says Reports that can take you to some standard and custom reports that are available to you. So if we're working within PowerTeacher Gradebook, again, the Reporting tab is the rightmost tab on that screen, and when you select it, you'll see the list of reports available to you. Here we've got a view of what the dialog looks like for the attendance grid report. And the attendance grid, I'll show you what it looks like. It looks like this. We have a list of students here. I've blurred out their names. We can see some dates across the top, and the intent is that you could use this to record student attendance. But if you're looking for a grid that you can use for other purposes, then back on this page, you could click No Dates, and then in the number of days drop down, select the number of columns that you'd like to have for your blank grid, and then use it for whatever purposes you wish. We have had some feedback up here. You can print the grid for the currently selected class or all active classes. And I have heard from teachers that if you select all active classes, then the beginning of the list of your second class might appear on the same page, near the bottom of the same page as your first class. So rather than put each class on a separate page, you might have more than one class on one page. So to avoid that, make sure that you print your lists class by class. You can also print just select groups of students, and I don't know maybe why you'd want that for attendance purposes, but maybe if you're doing some group work, you could divide students into groups and just print lists that have students in a certain group. So the next report we've got is the category total report. So that's sort of a summary report. We have some similar options here that we saw on the previous page. So we've got, we can print for the selected class or all active classes, all enrolled students or select groups of students. You can also choose whether to print these reports with student names or student numbers. Student number is sometimes nice if you don't want the names attached to the particular report. And if we take a look at this one, category total report, in my options, I had selected all reporting terms. So if we take a look at the report, on the top we've got the midterm totals, and on the bottom the semester 2 final totals. And what it does is break down assessment for your students based on the achievement categories that you're recording by. So for this particular test class, I had broken up the assessments by unit or strand rather than break them down by achievement chart category. But whatever categories you're assessing by will appear here, and we've got a breakdown for that student for their percent in each of those areas based on the information that you've entered for them to this time. So the student name does appear up at the top here, and that student name, I've blocked it out because it's an actual student, but the report would look like this for each student that you print it for. The next report you may have seen, so this is the final grade and comment verification. It's not what they recommend that we use for report card verification at this time, because we do have a custom report that's a little bit better. But many of us have printed this report before, so it prints the student names, their final grade that you've entered on their report card, as well as the report card comment. So I still think it might be a useful report if you're just looking for a nice clean report for proofreading of comments, but the other report's a little bit better because it lets you know whether you've completed the learning skills for your classes, and that tends to be something that teachers are more likely to forget than the grade or the comment. Next, we've got the individual student report, and the individual student report gives you assessment information for an individual student, and you can print it out for every student in a particular class, every student in all of your classes, or just select students. and you can decide what you want to include in the report, but basically it looks like this. So the student name is at the top, it's been blanked out. We've got their final grade, we've got the due dates, categories, assignment names, assignment scores, total possible points available for each assignment, and the percentage that student achieved in each of those assignments on this page here. And also, if you've been using PowerTeacher Gradebook for assessment, you know that you can add or type a comment for the individual grades that you enter. So if you have attached a comment to a student's grade, those comments would appear here. And finally, down at the bottom, we also have a category summary, so a breakdown by achievement category for that student. And the next report is the missing assignment report. So this is nice if you maybe want to provide a student with a list of assignments that they need to catch up on. You can also print out this report by assignment, in which case it would give you a list of the students that are missing a particular assignment. In the report, I've got a sample here just for one student. The student name has been blocked out, but it's telling me that this particular student is missing one assignment, and it gives me the due date and the name and the number of points for that assignment. The next report here is the score sheet, and the score sheet is going to contain any information that you've entered into Gradebook for student assessment, and you can filter it in a few different ways. So we've got some of the same options available here as on previous reports, but as you can see, we've also got categories, so you can print out just the grades for one particular category if you want to look at maybe all of the application assignments, or if you have a category for formative assessment that you wanted to look at separately from your other categories, you could filter by category. And here it says we do want to include the final grades, and if we take a look at what the score sheet looks like, the student names appear along the left-hand side. I've blocked them out. We've got their midterm and final grades for semester 2, and then all of the data that has been entered for them. So if you have more than, what does this look like? More than 12 entries, then you'll have additional pages to worry about. But this is what the first page would look like for your course. And as you can see, I've got some numeric data that I've entered for these students, as well as some non-numeric data. So for some of these things, I was using sort of like a proficiency scale, so it almost looks like learning skills. I've got excellent, good, needs improvement. Over here I've got something else going on. I think here this was an indicator of what type of assessment a student did for a particular project, so whether it was a video or a slideshow presentation. So we've got a lot of different data that we can collect in Gradebook, and all of it will appear on this report. The next report is the student multi-section report, and it looks a lot like the individual student report. So let me just go straight there. We've got the student's final grade at the top, we've got the due dates, categories, assignment name, and student marks for each of the assignments that they've completed, as well as the room for the comment that goes along with each of those assignments, and we've got a category breakdown at the bottom. So there's not a huge difference between those two reports. The last one I've got here is student roster, and that's where you can choose to print out student demographic information. We have a number of things we can select to print. So on my example here, where of course the information is all blocked out because it's private, you can see my headings were student number, gender, grade level, home phone number, and birth date. So if there's information that you'd like to have at hand on paper and you'd rather not rely on the internet to find phone numbers, for instance, you could print yourself out a list as long as you keep it safe. So if we take a look at the PowerTeacher website, the reports link is on the left-hand side when you're looking at your start page. And when you click on it, we get this reports for all students page. There are some standard and additional reports, but I wanted to take a look at the custom SCDSB reports. And so those are reports that have been generated by the SCDSB for teachers' use. We've got one called My Class Profile and another called My Class Profile Secondary. So let's take a look at those first. My Class Profile is meant to give information to elementary teachers or grade 9 teachers about their students so that we can check how they've done recently on different things. So this was printed for a grade 11 class, so I don't actually have term 3 report card data for these students because they were not, they're currently in grade 11, so since it's for last year, we don't have elementary school data for them. Their attendance for the entire last year is here, and we've got reading and math assessment information here, and then we've got EQAO scores. So I think as a teacher, that might be a nice way for students coming into grade 9 to be able to identify students who might need support with literacy skills when they're working on coursework with you. All right, so if we take a look here, this is the My Class Profile Secondary. It did not generate any data when I ran it this week, and I'm trying to figure out whether it should or not, but for now it is blank, and I will update this presentation if I find out that it is supposed to contain information. The next report was actually requested by a teacher. It's the report card comment bank. And this report is for you if you'd like to have a paper copy of your report card comments when you're working on report cards. Sometimes it's hard to sort through those reports or those comments on the computer, so you could have this as a reference for yourself that you can look at when you're working on your reports. So here we've got a teacher class list report. When you click on it, it comes to this page and asks if you would like to submit the report. It gives you an opportunity to enter information in some additional columns, which I haven't actually tried doing. But the report itself looks like this. So we've got student photos, which didn't load. I'm not sure why. Student names, student numbers, any alerts, what period they have your class in, room, grade, safety plans, safety concerns, medical alert, IEP. So it's all information that's pertinent to those students being in your class. And it appears up here as if you can sort by period or section or grade. So then maybe you can have easy access to that key information for your students at the beginning of the semester. All right, so the final report that's on that custom SCDSB report page is Teacher Gradebook Marks for Quick Verification. So this is the one that if you run it during a reporting period, it will show whether you have completed all of the fields on your report cards. So because we're not near a reporting period right now, I can't see what it looks like. Probably many of you have seen it, and I have yet to see it. So we've got class enrollment status, who's the teacher, what's the course number, section, student, grade, report code. And over here are learning skills status. Haven't seen this, but I assume that it's going to show whether they are complete or not. I like this column here, comment length, because we know that comment length is important when you're completing your reports. The IEP, ESL, interview boxes are here, and there's a box for comments as well. So this does have a benefit over the other report because it does show you all of the information that should be included in the report card. And hopefully it was useful to you when they rolled it out at the end of semester 1. All right, so thank you very much for checking out SCDSB Gradebook reports, and hopefully you can, if there's anything that you need to know, you can hit the form on the Gradebook guide. I'll just go there quickly so that you can see the link. So our bit.ly/SCDSB Gradebook. The link to the form here is to give feedback to me that I can take forward and try and get answered for you. Thanks.